too.
On the website, the YouTube channel's not posted. It's blank.
On our website?
Where you post the agenda, when you open
Yeah,
the
there's
agenda.
no, it's not on
It's
the
blank.
website. So nobody even knows this is happening today.
Manny was supposed to put it on the website.
Not on there.
I gave it to him on Friday.
Yeah, it's not
The
on the
agenda's
website.
there, but that
Yeah, but there's no notice.
it just
of the
says-
meeting today.
YouTube app, and then there's a blank.
Yeah,
I
there's
gave him
nothing on
all
our
this.
website saying we're even meeting today.
Uh-oh.
Just one second.
Reschedule.
Okay, it's muted.
Yeah, because I was gonna put that link on our Facebook page and I went to that agenda and I was like, there's no link.
I can't get to the. Yeah, I sent it to Manny on Friday afternoon when I was there.
Unless it's somewhere that I'm not looking.
No, I looked on the city's website and it's not, there's no notice when you open the city's website.
Just want me to sign back up for this magazine. Look, I get 2 of them already a month.
Yeah, shouldn't it be right there?
Yeah, because I clicked here for the latest agenda, unless it's,
It's in the agendas.
and then when you have to download the document.
Well, it's in the agendas.
Yeah, but there's no notice right there.
Oh,
Even saying we're having a meeting
No,
today.
it's not in the agendas. The agenda is there, but this is blank.
I know. That's what I'm telling you. Go to government and then look at agendas or whatever. Yeah, that line's blank right there. But there's no even,
Yeah.
there's no notice on our website saying we're even having a damn meeting today. Yeah, because I was gonna post that link and there's no link.
Okay.
oh, this thing is so slow.
Well, mine was slow too, opening that.
It's been slow, yeah, even at the plant.
I don't want anybody hearing.
Oh, it'll be down there.
Well, it's supposed to start in a minute.
Okay.
Tommy, you just wanna yell when you want me to come in?
You can stick around if you want. I don't have time to yell, actually.
Just like, no.
I don't have time to yell.
You can't yell and take minutes at the same time.
I can't leave this spot. Nope. Okay, I need to get this started. Sorry.
Oh, no worries.
And allow commissioners in, let them know we're in broadcast live. Where's my Zoom?
Hello?
Hello?
All right, just making sure people can hear me.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Start video.
You care if I buzz by you?
That's fine.
I'm gonna social distance you.
Okay.
Well, dude, you're just gonna go around spray poison every place I put.
Good
Okay,
morning.
everybody on?
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Marty.
Morning.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay, I'm having difficulty. I see no pictures right now and my computer screen's froze, but as long as you can hear me, I'm all right.
morning, Arby.
Good morning.
Tonya, tell me when we have everybody on and then I'll get started.
Morning, Bob.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Bob.
Looks like everybody's here. Bob, RB, Justin, Jared, Mike.
Is Pat
Pat's
in?
there, right?
Yeah, I don't see Pat.
Thought I heard him a minute ago.
Yeah, there he is.
I'm here.
Hello, Pat.
Hello, Pat.
Okay, we ready to start?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, I'd like to call this regular City of Dumas Commission meeting, April 21st, to order. We'll start off with an invocation and a pledge by Commissioner Justin Willis.
If you'll please pray with me. Lord, we come before you this morning with a heavy heart at this time. In these difficult times, I will ask that you protect the people on the front lines in our community as well as our country. May you shower them with protection, peace, a clear mind, rest, and courage on a daily basis, that they will feel renewed each and every day. I also lift up their families as they are on the front lines as well. Give them a covering of comfort and peace. God, we know that you are in control. Please lead and guide our heroes with your wisdom. I pray for a sense of compassion to come over our community, for our neighbors, and a sense of belief that this isn't about only us, but our neighbors as well. I lift up all of our local leaders as they make difficult decisions that impact us all. May you continue to bless our community. We give you all the glory. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
If you'll please stand with me wherever you're located and we'll say the pledge. I pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
under
under God,
Indivisible.
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Justin. I think we decided to skip the attending citizens and their business, correct, Tonya?
Yes, and there were no comments sent in this morning.
Okay. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. First, I'd consider the approval of the April 7th, 2020 regular city commission minutes and consider approval of paying of the bills. Has everybody had a chance to review those?
I'd move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll
I'll
second.
second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to our formal session. Item number 1 is consider approval of ordinance number 1177, adopting and enacting a new code of ordinance. This is our second and final reading. Has anything changed from last commission meeting on this ordinance?
No, there have been no changes.
Okay, I didn't notice any when I read it.
No.
Any questions or concerns or comments from the commissioners?
No,
Again, go ahead, Pat.
I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance 1177, second and final reading.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve ordinance number 1177, adopting and enacting a new code of ordinance, second and final reading. Just for clarity, this isn't adding anything new. This is just adding the recent ordinance changes that we have to our actual code book so that they can be put on on our website. And I forget the word that they used. Is Arby, what's that word y'all used? Starts with an R. I can't remember. Anyway, basically it's just making them official.
Right. It basically, we changed our codification company from the old company to Franklin Legal. And when we changed to Franklin Legal, they transferred everything from the old system over. That's what you see on the website now. What they did was a legal review of everything in our current code to make sure everything was, there were no inconsistencies or things like that. They finished that legal review, and now they're ready to codify not only the old ordinances, but everything to date and get that in the codification and in the book. And that's basically, this ordinance is basically giving them the authority.
All right, thank you. I just wanted to clarify for anybody who didn't hear us last meeting. It's been moved and seconded that we approve this. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
we'll move on to our work session. Item number 1 is to discuss ordinance number 1178, amending chapter 82, article 1, section 82-1, adding wind energy system construction fee and providing for publication. Our city inspector, Andy Dillman.
Good morning, everyone. Recently, I've had 2 inquiries about putting windmills or turbines here in town. One of them that I know is going to follow through with this. And as I was talking with Arby, we decided it's something we should have some sort of regulation set in standard procedure. So when this does come up, we don't end up with it in people's backyards or places that the public does not want. So in this ordinance 1178, we looked at different ordinance from other cities, and Arby found a good one to use as a template, and he altered it to fit our city. Basically, we're looking at getting a uniform set of standards for wind turbines in the city since they are so popular. It's going to limit it at this point to L&M districts, which is manufacturing. So we won't have to worry about somebody setting it up next to a school or next to their neighborhood and it creating noise or being a hazard. It will require that any of this requires a specific use permit, which would be a permit that goes with the owner of that property. And that would allow them to put a windmill up. And so it'd have to go through planning and zoning first and then through the commission, 2 readings, if somebody wants to do this. If they did want to put it in someplace in an L&M, they could also seek a zoning variance on that, but that's up to the people to speak and decide if they would want that or not. I highlighted a few things in the ordinance, but most of all, it's about making sure they follow federal and state government guidelines through the FAA. No advertising, no bright lights on the towers. Covers fees that would be charged for going through the permitting process of a specific use permit. Clarifies that they must, if they want to backfeed the grid, they must notify and get a letter from the power utility company approving that application. Talks about setbacks from the property lines of 1 to 1.25 or 25%. So if the apex of a blade is 100 feet, then it would have to be placed at the base 125 feet from the property line. So if it did fall over by act of God, it wouldn't fall on somebody else's property. One of the things that it says in here, you will carry insurance on it. It gives a list of things that we require as far as permitting it, but the information very clearly that we need. And the biggest thing is, I think that if the business decides to pack up and move out, they are also required to disassemble that windmill and bring it down so it just doesn't sit there randomly. So my concern is that these windmills, somebody may want to challenge and try to put one up around a residential neighborhood. And I don't want to open up that door and not have something in our city ordinance that would force it to go to the planning and zoning and through due process. So that's pretty much what this ordinance says with a lot of specifics.
Any questions from any of the commissioners at this point?
Andy, what was the height limits on those wind turbines?
I don't think we had a height limit,
Okay.
not more than what the manufacturer's recommendations are. But if you had a 150 foot tower, you would have to have 175, 350 foot wide space to put it in, minimum. At least that, so.
Yeah, the height isn't limited. What the limiting factor is the property that the tower sits on, based on, like you said, if it was to be, if God was to happen that it caused that to fall over, that it wouldn't affect a neighboring property. So that's why that has that 1 to 1.25 foot clearance in there. It can be as tall as it wants, depending on the size of the property.
Andy, this is Ben Maples. And I'm not an expert on wind turbines, but I know there's been instances throughout the country that the turbines have caught fire and had a failure, internal failure, or the one out by Channing several years ago that burned. And I was wondering, do we need to require some type of a clearance around the base of the tower so that if there's falling material that's burning, it wouldn't create a grass fire danger?
That is a legitimate concern. I'm not an expert on wind turbines myself, but I did see one burn up a year ago on the south end of town when I was driving past it. And it did start a little bit of a grass fire right there. There is something in here about that shall be maintained and inspected on a regular basis, but that's something we could definitely talk about before we presented this to the commission formally, of having some sort of, I don't know if you want to put rock there. There's something I
I was thinking of a light gravel base or something, maybe a 20-foot circle or some circle around the base, so that if the oil came out of the crankcase, a fire and hit the ground, it wouldn't have grass immediately to start fire.
I think we could add sort of a clear space around the base of the tower in there, where it talks about the site plan. If you look up there on section C, it talks about the site plan, and it gives a lot of specifics on that. I think that we could add into the site plan that requirement pretty easily.
Okay, yeah, the site plan, I think a clear area around the base with some type of a gravel material. That's all I had. Otherwise, I think it's pretty good.
I have some clarity. I know I've seen them. I can't think of addresses off the top of my head. I'll try to pay better attention and write them down. But I know I've seen some residential, what look like some sort of wind turbine in town. How does this affect the residential models? It sounds like we're more concerned about the large models. How do the residential models fit into this conversation?
I think the residential model would have to fall under that same 1 to 1.25 clear base. I know there are smaller units out there, but you're still going to have them on a tower. And one of the drawbacks to having them in a neighborhood is the fact that the winds are so inconsistent and they're so variable around buildings and trees and things. So the ultimate goal there probably would be to get it above those types of obstructions. And I think that clear zone kind of would regulate that, because you're on a smaller lot, a smaller residential lot, you got a tower that's 75 or 80 feet tall, and now when it falls over, it is definitely coming down on somebody else's property. So like I said, I think the height of tower is going to be regulated by the size of the lot. And so if they want to keep them in a residential area, I think we could certainly grandfather those in that are already there. But I think in the future, we would have to look at each one on a case-by-case basis based on the size of the lot, and then let planning and zoning, take it from there as far as approvals for a specific use.
Okay, and the ones that are existing now, would they be grandfathered, or would they?
I think that would be prudent, is to grandfather those that are already existing. I wouldn't make this a retroactive. In my mind, it wouldn't be retroactive. In my mind, it would be moving forward. And we would retroactively grandfather in those that are existing. but we might visit with those that do have them and encourage them to, talk about insurance or other issues with those. But yeah, if it's already there, I don't see the prudence in doing a retroactive, declaring them illegal retroactively.
Okay.
Perhaps we would want to, and I would agree, I wouldn't want to make everything retroactive, but we probably need to handle each one on a case-by-case basis, both the insurance question and the setback and the zoning.
Yeah.
I don't have any other questions. So basically, if somebody wants a residential model, they've got to get it approved through zoning, which is fine. That way we make sure it's safe. Any other comments, questions about that proposed ordinance? I know we're looking at any changes anybody would like to make. Looks like we're going to do our first reading on this ordinance is expected May 5th with a second ordinance discussion and approval, second reading on the 19th. Is that still the expectation, RB? And
yes, sir.
Any other concerns or comments from the commission on this item?
The only thing I would think about is making sure there's enough liability, because I have seen instances where the blades have presented problems and come apart, and that would just be one thing I would like to look into, make sure there's definitely enough liability coverage, in case, because those blades will go for long distances if they come apart or come off. But other than that, it looks good.
Andy, how do you feel about requiring some type of a periodic inspection of the blades? And again, the blades deteriorate, and I know from experience the turbines out at Valero, they've had lightning hit blades and they take chips out of them, and then just the ice will deteriorate blades. So I'm wondering whether we should require some type of a periodic inspection by experts to determine that the blade is still worthy of operation, that it's not a danger to the population, so to speak.
Do that.
That is a good point. I don't know exactly what committee or what would be the way that they actually do inspection those on a annual basis. I'd assume that there are people that are especially in the windmill, wind turbine field that actually do that.
And what they do is they get a pair of binoculars and stand on the ground and they inspect each blade to see if there's nicks and chips and damage. And then when they go and repair them, they rappel down and anyway.
I don't know.
But there's some type of a periodic inspection needs to be made.
Yeah. I don't know if we put that in ordinance that the specific use permit is good for 1 year, at which time it has to be renewed. And each time it's renewed, maintenance paperwork has to be turned in on that shows.
That sounds great. That sounds great.
Or could it be in line with, we have to do a fire safety check every year or every year for most of these businesses where they check the fire extinguishers and things like that? Could we just, could we require that they have documentation that they deliver upon that inspection that shows that it's been maintained?
I think that's an easy thing to do, because we, right now we have sprinkler systems out there that have backflow, devices on them, and we require, I think residents is every 3 years and businesses is every year. They have to have a licensed irrigator come in and inspect their backflow device to make sure their backflow's operating properly. So I think it'd be pretty easy for us to have a way of documenting that, and just on an annual basis, they have an inspection done, they turn it into the city, and we're good to go.
Yeah,
That sounds good.
okay.
And that helping their insurance, I would think their insurance would encourage that as well. If they have any kind of liability insurance on there at all, I'm sure that documentation would be something that would make the insurance underwriter feel a lot better as well.
Okay. Any other discussion on this topic or questions? All right, as that's the last item on our agenda, I did want to again give an update on our COVID-19 situation. Again, we continue to encourage the citizens to follow the guidelines that have been put forth from the county in our declaration. Those include proper washing of your hands regularly, social distancing, no gatherings larger than 10, minimize your exposure, a stay-at-home order. So stay at home for things other than essential activities. This order is in effect till May 2nd. Also today, the county commissioners approved an addition to that order. It will expire on May 2nd, and that is requiring use of a face mask inside of public buildings. This does not apply to people exercising or outside walking or riding their bikes. It does not apply to people who are pumping their gasoline. It applies to people, and it does not require a mask as you're walking from a building to your car. It does require the use of a mask in the building. That is finable up to $1,000. If you want more answers on exactly how that rule is enforced or any more clarification, I would encourage you to reach out to your county commissioner or watch the video that I'm sure will be available before too long on Blue Cloud TV or through the various organizations to watch that meeting. I would or reach out to Tommy Brooks at Emergency Management or Rowdy Rhodes, the county judge. But that is new. That happened this morning. Just want to make everybody who's watching this aware and our commissioners aware. We continue to fight this battle. Our hospital district has done an extremely good job of testing our population. We're currently testing at almost, if my math is correct, based on the number of positive, negatives, and outstanding tests we have at this current junction. We've tested somewhere in the neighborhood of about 2.5% of the population at this point, which is close to 4 times the rate of the state of Texas at this point, based on this morning's numbers. That's great. That allows us to better understand how this virus is spreading amongst our population. But also in doing that should be expected to raise our numbers. Our numbers are way too high in this community. We need to practice the rules that have been put in place. And I would encourage that each and every person watching this to adhere to the rules in place. As I've said in the past, please, these rules are there to protect you, but they're also there to protect your neighbor. We're all in this together. And, God bless us all. And hopefully we can get past this sooner than later. But that won't happen if our citizens don't adhere to the recommendations set forth at this point. Any questions or concerns over those comments, commissioners?
I appreciate it.
All right. God bless everybody, and this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
You don't have to make a motion for the meeting to be adjourned.
I think I would have thought that we did, but
We don't usually make a motion to adjourn the meeting. I usually just adjourn it because there's nothing else on the session. But if you want, I can ask for a motion to adjourn. but I don't usually every time we do this.
That,
Right.
that hasn't been the custom in my recollection, that normally you just adjourn the meeting, but
Okay.
I
We were still good.
I believe we're good.
Hey, there you are, Justin. Good to see you.
I showed up. It unfroze. I caught up.
All right.
Thank y'all. Have a good one.
Take care.